Hello and welcome to the gaming test of the new Galaxy Z Flip5. Yes, we are a little bit late here because we just got the unit not too long ago, like a day ago. So I'm pretty much rushing this out for you guys. Before we continue, I do want to say that the Galaxy Z Flip5 is not meant for gaming, but you can if you want to. And as you can see, this phone is using the brand new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, which has a very mild overclock, which I literally just neglected anyway. And the screen resolution of this phone is 2640 by 1080 pixels in resolution, which is important. So to do a little bit of prep work, we will have to go into developers option first and then enable GPU watch. But we will have to delete the blob size widget, and then we have to add our own, which is the average FPS of the surface, which is what's on top of the display. I don't want to get technical here, but just enable that to see the FPS. And then we will also head into Game Launcher, and inside Game Launcher we'll head into Game Booster, tap into Labs, and then enable Alternate Game Performance Management mode so that we can get the best performance out of it. And then we also download the game plugins, enable Game Booster Plus. Then we will have to max out the graphics quality and also the FPS so that we can get the highest render resolution possible to literally stress out the phone with the highest fidelity games ever at the highest resolution that it can render. So hopping on to Genshin Impact, we literally just max everything out and see how the phone handles it.
知はありません。痛くしちゃうか。ソーランド行こう。裁きの雷。知識はあなたにも。みんなは俺が守る。ここより弱滅の時。
And as we can see, the FPS number is kind of all over the place. So sometimes it's around 33 FPS at its lowest, but sometimes it's at around 50, nearly 60 FPS. But it mostly hovers somewhere around 40 FPS, which I still think is very good considering that this phone can only use half of the real estate for its cooling performance, which is why it is still thermally throttled and you can't just beat physics since you don't have any space to use. The highest temperature that we can see here is somewhere around 43 degrees Celsius, which I would say is still very low actually. We have tested phones that reach somewhere beyond 50 or 55 degrees Celsius, and that is what you call hot. This one is very mild. And as you can see here, only half of the phone is hot, literally, because that's where the chipset is, and you can't really just put all of the cooling system and whatnot without sacrificing all of the other components of the phone as well. Then jumping on to PUBG Mobile, here we have HDR graphics with extreme frame rates. That's all that we can get. We can't even get 90 FPS with smooth graphical settings. So yeah, the phone can maintain 60 FPS, no problems at all. So here's the gameplay. And for PUBG New State, we can enable the highest graphical quality, which is Ultra and 90 FPS option. And then we just use HD textures and whatnot. And this phone can't really maintain it at 90 FPS, but we can reach somewhere around 80, high 80 FPS average, which is still very good to be exact. So here's the gameplay of it.
Repeat.
And as for COD Mobile, we can use ultra frame rate, but we will have to drop all the way down to the lowest graphical settings, which I think is okay. And we also enabled super resolution, which is an experimental feature. So let's just see how this phone fares out. And as you can see here, it will maintain somewhere around 90 FPS most of the time, which I still think is magnificent.
Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested.
Enemy in sight!
Friendly Shock RC is ready. Friendly Shock RC is coming.
Target's in sight! Target down!
Hardpoint identified. Capture the objective.
Let's go! Let's go! Target's in sight!
Hardpoint locked down.
Enemy down!
Hardpoint identified. Capture the objective.
Target's in sight!
Hardpoint locked down.
Enemy down!
Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested. Friendly Shock RC is ready. Hardpoint contested. Friendly Shock RC is coming. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested. Sentry gun ready to deploy. Sentry gun deployed. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint contested.
Sniper eliminated!
And then for Mobile Legends, this is where things get weird. I downloaded all of the resources and by default it did select the Ultra graphics for me, but it has been grayed out, so I don't want to tap away, which happened to me in the past. Once I tap it away, I cannot tap back to Ultra graphics, so I just leave it like this. And we don't have 90 or 120 FPS options, so we just proceed with high, which as you can see here, it can maintain 60 FPS, no problems at all.
Give life to magic, not magic to life. I know who I am, and you will soon know as well.
Enemy has been slain! An ally has been slain.
The more your fear grows, the smaller you become.
Killing spree!
At 9 p.m.
Let's see who has the last laugh.
An ally has been slain. You have been slain.
Give life to magic.
An ally
Not
has been
magic.
slain. Launch attack! Okay. The enemy has slain
One special treat for you guys is Fortnite. So as you can see here, we can go 60 FPS at epic graphical preset, but once we go 90 FPS, it will lock all the way down to the lowest graphical settings. So I just want to stress this phone out, so I will proceed with epic graphics with 60 FPS. And as you can see here, this is kind of similar to Genshin Impact's situation. It cannot maintain anywhere near 60 FPS, so it mostly hovers somewhere around 30 FPS actually, especially when you're outdoors and running around. But sometimes it does go 60 FPS when you're indoors and whatnot, so kind of varies depending on what environment that you're in.
My investigations into the apparatus have been interrupted by a small army of explorers. This could work to my benefit. I've made contact as a possible expert for their team. If I can convince them to excavate the site, I can get the apparatus working.
Then I decided to go for round 2, but this time I'm going for 90 FPS option with the lowest graphical quality. And as you can see here, it mostly hovers somewhere around 60 FPS, which is much more consistent and smoother than before. But yeah, it just can't reach 90 FPS in this case. And lastly, Wreckfest. For this game, I just maxed everything out, and as you can see here, yeah, the FPS number is kind of jumping all over the place again. So sometimes it's around 30 something, 40 FPS, but sometimes it's around 60 FPS. But sometimes it can reach somewhere around 70 FPS. So I'm not too sure what's going on here. Most of the time it's around 30 to 40 FPS actually, which I still think is kind of okay. And I have to clarify again, people buying this phone is not for gaming, but I just want to show you its gaming capabilities here. But the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip5 does have the battery bypass feature, so when we plug in the charger, a blue circle comes out, and then we can just simply launch a game and immediately quit it, and then head into the game booster inside Game Launcher, and then we have the pause USB power delivery option, which is the battery bypass feature, and that can be enabled with just a tap of a button. And that's it, that's all we have to share with you about the gaming test of the Galaxy Z Flip5. Again, this one is not meant for gaming, but you can if you want to. And yeah, if you have any other questions, do leave them down in the comment section below. Our review for this phone will come soon, I hope. Yeah, I did discover quite a lot of hidden upgrades found in the Galaxy Z Flip5. And yeah, we'll see you there. Goodbye.